Hey guys, it's Jazzy. I'm so excited that I passed the real estate exam, guys. State and national, did it, cleared it. To apply for it, send in your query. Everything stays active for 2 years. I did not mention that in the previous video. It's very important to realize that. Going through real estate school, all of that stays active for 2 years after you get your diploma from the real estate academy, whichever one you use. Have 2 years to do something with it. If you do not become a licensed agent within those 2 years, you have to basically do everything all over again. So after I passed it in 2024, took 2025 to kind of just focus on work and just, working a normal job, saving up money, and putting myself financially where I wanted to be. That was kind of the meat and potatoes of that year. Let's get into it, guys. We're just going to jump right based solely off of the information you're getting from your real estate academy, whichever one you went through. Then you might be a little bit tripped up in the actual exam. Let me explain. The facilitator of the actual exam is a company called PSI, and they are not affiliated with the real estate academy that I used. I'm blanking on the name of it, but I'll put it somewhere here, the school I used. And this was a school that was recommended to me by a brokerage that I was kind of like, I guess, prospecting at the time. Now, do I recommend this school specifically? Not really. It could have just been the proctor I had, but it was definitely not the best material. A lot of it was stuff that wasn't even on either part of the exam when I ended up taking it, and I just found it to be a bit subpar, but this brokerage highly recommended this school, so that's kind of just the default I went to. Go through their official website. A lot of the times, these places, they do have Quizlets, they have like mock exams that are going to have more content that's like geared to what you possibly could see on the actual test itself. A binder, I took it as straight gospel. Like, this is what's going to be on the exam. This is what I need to study on. It was not on the exam. It was good information to know. It was very much like, it built the building blocks. Let's just put it that way. It was very like digestible and like big picture stuff of what like you need to know as a real estate agent. But the questions I got, and I can speak to this because the national portion of the exam, that's what everyone gets countrywide. There are questions that are so niche that you're going to really have to have like a textbook or something tangible to really fish for these questions to know the answer to them. And then part of it was just going to the library, honestly, and just picking up a book. That was the big hurdle for me. I go to the exam and I'm nervous. I'm like, okay, I got this. I sit down for it, and then lo and behold, I'm bombarded with a bunch of questions that I have not been rehearsed on. I haven't studied. This was not in my notebook. And I'm like, whoa, this is a little intimidating because I don't know any of this information for the most part. State was a lot easier for me. The state, so it goes in two sections, national and state. My state of Massachusetts, for me, was very easy. I think I passed that part on the first crack at it. And I think it was just more so like common sense and just like, it was easier to pass it for me. Let's just put it that way. There was the other section, national. I did not pass that on the first crack. I'm not even going to lie on this video and pretend like I did. I did not. Definitely not prepared. I did not have the materials needed to study what was on the test itself. So it was totally fine. I took the first passing the state as like a good sign. I'm on the right track. It was frustrating, yes. And let's just get into that really quick, guys. You guys might be frustrated. Some people are really good at exams. Some people are really good at like fishing for information, however difficult or easy that is. Some people are really tripped up on tests, right? I'm not saying that I'm either or. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. And I'm not horrible at taking tests. It humbled me that I was not able to pass that on the first crack. So if that happens to you guys, just take it in stride. That's what I did. I was just like, I went into it with this mentality out the gate. I'm not going to go into it with a chip on my shoulder. Like, anything I need to do to pass this, I'm willing to do it. If I need to study, if I need to have mentors, if I need to like, just sit with people and just kind of talk about my experience with the exam to see if I can like parse out where my shortcomings are, it didn't matter how many times I would have had to do it anyway too. I would have just kept going until I passed it. That's the mentality I had, at least, and that's the mentality I think that you guys should have going into it, because it will really help you not take it hard if you don't pass it. You may pass it on the first crack, but I will say from my experience with the exam, it will take some degree of studying. If you're going to at least pass it the first time, you're going to have to kind of brush up on terminology and stuff like that. And another thing that I did want to say, every time you take it, it rotates. So I took the exam like 3-4 times until I passed it on like the fourth time, at least the national part of it. And one thing to note as well is never going to be the same questions again and again, which I think is kind of obvious with anything. You're not going to expect it to be like the same stuff, because that'd be like anyone could pass it at that point. But it really shuffles. You're really never going to get the same question twice. So that's something to know as well. I think that's what kind of made it elongated to 4 times, me having to take it, because it was legitly new stuff every single time. And probability is, if something is like a brand new question that could be like so niche that you haven't thought to like think that will be on the exam, you end up having to study your whole textbook basically front to back to know everything. That was me. Like, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, at this point on like the second time, I think I was like, okay, I'm 2 times in, and just probability of odds of there just being something constantly like 2 or 3 or 4 questions on here that I'm just not going to know. I'm not going to like study things I think will be pertinent, because I'll be here forever. I'll just learn the whole textbook front to back. And that was something where I took time. Like, if I took the exam, for example, I would take like a month to just study more, another month to study more. And then within the course of like 4 months, I finally passed both portions. Oh, that's where the story was going. Long story short is I passed both portions. And that's another good resource too, ChatGPT, OpenAI. I genuinely think that if you just type in how to pass the national exam, how to pass the state exam, that's a really good study guide too, because believe it or not, I'm pretty sure that it'll come up with a template of like easy like study guides and like things to know for the exam. It may not be perfect, but at least it'll be like a good baseline too. So I would just say find good resources that work for you, and eliminate the rest, because useless information really won't get you there. For me, nothing's useless. I've learned a little bit from every source I've used, but that will just help you pass it quicker. The exam was one thing, and to me that was a simple part. You test, you study. You test, you study. Inevitably, you pass. Pretty simple program there. The hard part has been just getting my license sent to me. Guys, can we have a second? I don't know if Massachusetts is just a pariah in the states, but I'll tell you, getting my physical license has been the most annoying, frustrating, time-consuming thing. Mostly because I passed everything. I done the work. I did all of the studying, and there's something that I can't even describe putting into words. Doing all that, you're done. And the only thing stopping you from being at a brokerage and doing all the fun real estate things, actually selling and making your career, is having your license and your license number. And the state literally has my license under hostage. Very dramatic. I'm not saying that, but I'm finally getting it after a long time. And a lot of it too is like you have to call the state if they don't have it uploaded. They used to, just to break this down, because every state's different, you may not have this problem. My state of Massachusetts, they no longer print the actual license once you pass the exam. They used to. I think summer 2025 is when they stopped it. So I was right on the cusp. I was very close. If I had just finished it a little sooner, a couple months sooner, I would have been able to just get it printed and be on my merry way. But I missed that cutoff, and since then they no longer print it out for you. You have to, and it's weird for just a printable thing. You have to go on the state website. I think it's called Ellipse, and then it should be uploaded within 48 hours. 48 hours came and gone, girl. It came past a long time ago. And then from there, you have to reach out to basically the state office, the division that handles those things. And it's like a very like aforementioned, like laborious thing to actually like get it done. I guess like maybe this happens a lot, and they handle a lot of these things, complaints, if you will, of people not getting their license in a timely fashion. I don't know. I don't feel like it should be this complicated. But finally, I think I got a supervisor or something. And then they should be like handling it. And then that took a while too. But I finally got confirmation that it should be all straightened out and I should be getting my license very soon. So, long story short, that was the hardest part of this whole process. And unbeknownst to me, this is all like so new and like a learning experience. Getting the actual license tangibly, just getting it, that was going to be the hardest part of the whole experience, not necessarily passing the exam and getting it, if that makes sense. That makes zero sense. Oh my gosh. But here we are. And your girl feels like she earned this one, you know? And it's been a minute since I've been like super proud of myself for a win, for an accomplishment. Like I have all my stuff here, like my diplomas, certificates, things that are like important or something. But this is the one where I'm like the most proud of it for a few reasons. Because first off, I went into it a complete novice, not knowing how the process worked. Number two is just playing kind of the waiting game, not of my own volition, just like these things take time, yes, but a painstaking amount of time. And I get it because first off, they don't want just anyone becoming a real estate agent. Let's just put that out there. The harder and more, not stressful, but more complicated a process is, it definitely weeds out people who I don't want to say have no business being in real estate, because that sounds really mean. Because everyone should be real estate if they choose to do that. But you get where I'm going with this. Like people who are just doing it just frivolously, who aren't going to take it serious. And it really keeps the candidates who are going to be realtors, it keeps the pool strong, if that makes sense. And the state really, I think, does this strategically to make sure that really capable people are being licensed as realtors through the state. There is this misconception too that like anyone can be in real estate, or it's not hard work, or you don't have to know anything. It's just kind of like people's like last resort in life is getting real estate. I think all of that is literal rubbish because it does take a lot. It takes so much. You have to study. You have to get licensed. I really liken it to people who are plumbers, electricians, carpenters even, because it's cool to know how to do things. It's cool to have background knowledge, but to actually get those certifications, go through the legwork, sit in classes, read textbooks, actually do the hard work behind the scenes to be on paper and be like official, that takes a different level of dedication and work. And not everyone's willing to do that, FYI. That's why there's a lot of people who do things under the table, which I am not talking crap about people who don't want to deal with those things and just rather do things as simple as possible. But I think it really just goes to show a level of dedication, and just, you know, I guess ability to stick things out in a way and just persevere. And I don't know, you guys get where I'm going with this. If you do, I do think that it's strategically a little more stressful, a little more difficult, less easy for those reasons I just outlined. And I actually think it's a good thing. I take a lot of pride in being a real estate agent. I am so proud of the career I've chosen. I am proud of the fact that I know I went through all that headache, but I also know all my peers also went through it. And just knowing that you are shoulder to shoulder selling with people who also push through those things and work their butt off to get where you're at is something that is just really hard to put into words, and I'm just so proud of it. So different things like being a 911 dispatcher, all of that, similar motif, but definitely a whole different level being in real estate, because you just really have to know your stuff, because people buying from you, selling to you, they're going to want to know that you are comfortable with your knowledge, that you are an expert in your particular field. And I feel like I am at this point. I've more than studied. So that's really that on that, guys. I don't have much else to add other than that. I'm so sorry if I rambled a little bit in this video, but I really wanted to be detailed about the experience and would I recommend it, all the things. 10 out of 10 will recommend it. But just keep in mind all the things I mentioned. We're not going to be redundant. If you have no background in finance, if jargon and stuff like that goes over your head easily, if you have a short attention span, stuff like that, definitely things to work on. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to close out the video with this because it is very important to understand and know. This is a very time-consuming process. You need to have a job or something that pays your bills while you're doing all this. So it's very much a transitional type of career choice. Keep your 9-to-5, keep your corporate job while you're doing all this on the side. Kudos to you too if you're working a full-time job and doing this on the side. Definitely leveling up and bossing up, but it's not going to pay anything obviously while you're doing this. So just set that expectation. And also, guys, lastly, have provisions. I went into being a real estate agent knowing that I would need like a pretty sizable nest egg to feel comfortable. What I mean is that the reality of being in real estate, right? It's almost like hitting the lottery or hitting a slot machine, right? The probability of you hitting goes up, obviously, if you're a real estate agent for X amount of years. If you're a new agent and it's not even a year in for you, have the expectation, just tell yourself, I'm going to make nothing. I'm going to make nothing, and you have to be okay with that. Let that sink in, guys. So I'm personally okay with that. I have enough of a nest egg. I have been fortunate enough over the years to be able to save up a pretty substantial amount of money for myself. And I also have other things I do. I am a small business owner as well. So I will never go without money. Like, I'll always be able to provide for myself and cover my essential bills, etc., and live comfortably. But mostly having that nest egg is what's the most important, I think. If for some reason, like let's say hypothetically, I never say anything's guaranteed, but let's say for some reason I broke my leg and I had nothing else going on for myself. Having a decent amount of money and $20,000 plus over $20,000 may seem like a lot to some people, right? But to me, that's nothing. I know that's crazy to say. Some people have only like $1,000 to their name right now, and the rest is going to bills, right? And I'm saying $20,000 is nothing. Hear me out. I think that if you are going to dedicate your first year in real estate to possibly making nothing and just treating it as a trial year, not carefree year, but year where you're building yourself, getting comfortable, getting in the groove of things, networking, meeting people, doing all the things, establishing yourself, building a book of business, you want to have a year's worth of expenses in a savings account just in case, because you're not going to be able to rely on real estate to pay your bills for this 1 year, for example. You're going to have to either be able to have it paid for with your income sources, or if something were to happen to you, which I am very much a preparer for the worst, if you were to quote unquote break your leg or something were to happen and you could not work for your money, make sure that you have that provision so you can be stress free in your year as a startup agent and just not feel pressured to be making money that you're not going to be making in your first year, more than likely, unless you close a deal or a major deal. It's not going to happen. Fingers crossed though. I hope we all my fellow real estate agents out there, I hope we're all making big deals and getting our checks and all that. But yeah, that's kind of the last thing I wanted to leave you guys with, is just have provisions in place. Me being an independent contractor and having saved up money in the past, so I'm comfortable at this point. I'm not like worried. That is something that is important, and I think we all should be in that spot, but I know a lot of people aren't. And if you're just starting on this journey of being in real estate, or you have a job you don't like, you want to go the independent route, keep that job especially while you're doing your licensing, while you're taking your 30-40 hours, or taking your exam. And then also everything you get, if you can, I know in this economy and like how expensive things are, it's so hard to do, save every penny that does not go to like an expense that is like necessary. That's my advice. I'm sticking to it. I get my license, my physical license that I put up on the wall soon. And after that, guys, guess what? We start doing day in the life of a real estate agent vlogs. Follow me around. And I take you along with me to my brokerage that I'm going with. I've dibble-dabbled. I don't want to get ahead of myself and say where I'll be going. It could possibly be Keller Williams, but we'll see. The good thing about this is I have a lot of time to kind of like shop around brokerages. That's what I've been doing right now. And for the past month or two is just kind of seeing where I want to hang my license as a new agent, because I think that's going to be really important as far as my exposure and just getting the most out of this whole experience, especially just starting out the gate. Chemistry is big. I really want to work somewhere where I like actually get along with and like my colleagues, and vice versa. All of that jazz. So that is the video, guys. I don't know if I'm leaving something out right now. I probably, as I'm editing it, will think, oh, why didn't I put this in there? Why didn't I put that? This is like going to be my life. This is from selling to networking to just changing my persona and just carrying myself like an agent, dressing the part. It's going to be a full-on shift for me, and I'm so excited to take you guys along this journey. It's been like a year and a half in progress, and it's a long time coming. I've been like plotting this little transition of mine for a minute, and to say that it's here is like absolutely, I'm like still pinching myself that it's happening. And I can't wait to bring you guys all of the content that follows, so stay tuned for that. No shade towards the State House of Massachusetts. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this was beneficial to you.